Hey Simoncito, are you gonna let me speak today? Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you're doing amazingly well today. Thank you for wanting to watch my story, this video. Sure, if you're here, you're probably coming from Instagram because I told you guys that I was gonna be sharing my miscarriage story with you. Please bear with me. This is a little bit tough to talk about because I sort of relive my experiences. I am here with Simoncito. What are you doing? Stop, don't eat that, don't eat that. Oh my goodness, these are crystals, fake crystals, but still, don't do that. I'm here with Simoncito. If you're new to my world, welcome. This is Simon, one of my cockatiels. I have a female cockatiel and her name is Lola. This is Simon, in Spanish, please. I also have my tea in here with me. I'm not sure if I should, but this is flower tea. So there's a little bit of messiness inside because this is the second time I try to do flower tea, so please bear with me. Apparently Simon, you want some? You can have. Yep, you can play with it. Anyways guys, thank you for just wanting to listen to my story. It's very therapeutic, to be honest. So my miscarriage happened 5 years ago, but it's something that still very hard to talk about because it's like reliving all the trauma. And just, you know, I don't have, for those of you who do not know me, I don't have babies yet. So to me, this is still a healing journey. And recently I decided to share more of that with you on Instagram specifically because I was sort of in the need to connect with other women who have also gone through miscarriages or who are going through one right now. I just didn't want to feel alone because this is something, as I said, that you deal with every single day. And it's been 5 years and I still mourn at my baby and I still cry and I still try to like understand why things happen, even though I know I will probably never understand why. I've just learned how to live with it. And since I was very young when that happened, I was only 20 when it happened. You know, I think it's a little bit more traumatic because I didn't even know what to expect. So we'll get into that. I have my computer with me because I just have some notes. I want to make sure I don't miss important events. So without anything else to say, let's just get started. This happened back in 2017. I was, as I said, 20 years old, and at that time my boyfriend had just recently moved to the United States. We are originally from Venezuela, and yeah, he moved to the States, and a few months later we were pregnant. We've been actually dating for 3 years prior to him moving here, so we've been dating for quite some time now, which is nice. But yeah, so we were in a long distance relationship when he was in Venezuela and when I was here, and then when he moved to the States, he moved to Tampa, which is where I'm living right now. But at the moment I was living still with my parents, and I was living in Miami, he was living in Tampa. So we were still long distance when he came to the States. So we weren't really, and this is one of the questions that I got asked the most when I started talking about this, we weren't really planning on getting pregnant. I was only 20. I just started school, well, not school, college, and my boyfriend was just studying his English course because he needed to learn English, and then he could go to universities. So that's what he was doing. And we weren't really planning any of this, of course, but I guess we weren't careful enough, of course, to avoid a pregnancy. But anyways, I got pregnant, and the way I found out was actually pretty funny and scary. We were at a small gathering in Miami. My boyfriend was visiting, and we were with his friends, and his best friend was also there, and his name is Andres. So shout out to Andres if you're watching this. I hope you do watch this video. But he's my boyfriend's best friend since like forever, since they were little kids, literally. So I remember we were in this small gathering at a friend's house, and I was super cold, I was super lazy, I didn't want to do anything, I was very tired, but I have hypothyroidism. So to me, that sort of behavior is not, it's very common, I'll say. So it's not something that will worry me. My birds are going wild right now. Simon, please stop. I'm not the type of person who would just ask for somebody's sweater, especially if it's a guy. But that day I was just super cold, so I asked someone, a friend, to just give me his sweater if he cold, and he gave it to me. My boyfriend's best friend, Andres, he actually took me to the side and he said, you know, I really need to talk to you. So there's something weird happening lately, and I just want to share that with you. I don't know how you're gonna take it. I hope you don't take it back, but I've been having dreams, and I had this last dream a couple of days ago that you were pregnant. And I'm not sure, but usually when I have these dreams, you know, I'm usually right. So I just want you to know that. So when he said that, well, first I wasn't shocked because I had actually dreamt that I was pregnant, but I didn't want to tell anyone because I just felt like it was weird. Oops, sorry. But I think time for some tea. But, you know, now that he said that, I sort of grew concerned because I said, okay, well, he just told me he had a dream of me pregnant. I just had a dream of me being pregnant. Like, maybe I should be looking into something here or not. I didn't know. So I just told my boyfriend, like, hey, Andres is telling me that he had a dream that I was pregnant, and I also had a dream, but I didn't want to tell you anything. And mind you, this was in the gathering. Like, I couldn't wait. I'm not the type of person who would just get those sort of comments and I would just keep them for like hours or days. I can't. I have to like throw it out. So I told him, and he was like, he's already white. He got whiter. And he's like, I have to confess something too. And I'm like, oh my goodness, please don't tell me you dream about it too. And he said, no, but my mom called me a couple of days ago saying, hey, I wanted to warn you about you potentially getting pregnant because like I had a dream of Elizabeth being pregnant. And when he said that, I was like, oh my goodness, too many people are dreaming about me being pregnant. So perhaps I should do something about it or not. I don't know. So at the moment I said maybe I'm like a little late, but again, I have hypothyroidism and that has affected my periods for as long as I can remember. So it wasn't not normal to me to just not have my period for a month or a month and a half. So I never like keep track of my periods because of that. But anyways, we decided to take Andres to his house, my boyfriend and my parents were actually traveling at the time. So this was like one of the worst parts ever, like telling my parents. Mind you that my parents are Latins, of course, as am I, and we're also Jews, so we come from a very strict culture, I guess. So I was very scared if I was indeed pregnant to tell my parents. But they weren't there, they were traveling, so we were good. I was staying with my brother. So when we were at Andres' house, I told Wilmer, hey, they were chatting outside, and I was like, hey, I am just gonna lay down in the car because I'm just so tired. Like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just like super tired. I just want to sleep. And he's like, well, okay, maybe it's just a little bit too late, whatever. It's been a long day. Maybe you're just tired. So go to sleep. Oh. I couldn't really sleep in the car. I was just thinking about the pregnancy stuff. I was like, maybe I'm pregnant. Like, I feel like I should take a pregnancy test. I had the feeling that I was indeed pregnant, but since that was the first time, I just didn't really know. So I was like scared, not scared, because I was like, this is impossible. Like, my boyfriend and I really take care of this. Like, it's impossible for me to get pregnant. He has never, you know, done the full job for me to get pregnant, so I don't know what's happening, or this shouldn't be happening. Anyways, I started counting the days. I went to the app that I use to keep track of my period, and I noticed that it has been 2 full months since I last saw my period. And that was the first. I always, as I said, I'm very irregular. So, well, used to be irregular. Now I'm like not irregular, which is crazy. That happened after my miscarriage, but that's a conversation for another video, I guess. But it was weird. Like, I will only miss my period for a month and a half, but it will never be like 2 full months. Like, that was just not normal. So I told my boyfriend, hey, I'm 2 months late. Like, this has never happened before. It's usually a month and a half. And he's like, well, perhaps we just like overthinking it, don't worry. I go home that night, and around 8 in the morning, my boyfriend reaches out to me and he says, hey, you need to take a pregnancy test. I can't sleep. I think you're pregnant. I need you to take a pregnancy test. So I listened to him, I took a pregnancy test, and I was literally like staring at the pregnancy test for the whole 3 minutes. And it was a digital pregnancy test, so I was just waiting for the no or yes. And for some reason, I was like expecting a no, but I knew it was gonna be a yes. So it's a mixed feeling. If you have ever been pregnant, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like you don't know what to expect. Like if you were not planning the baby, you just don't want it to say no, but you know you'll be disappointed if it's yes. So it's like, oh goodness, it's too much, too many emotions at the same time. I just stared at the digital pregnancy test for the whole 3 minutes, as I said, and when it came out yes, I was genuinely happy. Like I got excited and scared. So I ran to my boyfriend and I was like, I'm pregnant. And he just went like this. And then started laughing. So we started laughing and we were like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. We're just so young, but like, do you want this? Because I want this. Are you sure you want this? So we were like asking each other if we were okay with this. We were genuinely so happy. Like immediately my world just, I don't know, became something else, right? It's you knowing you're pregnant and internalizing it. I didn't even need an hour or two to like internalize that I was pregnant. I had internalized it already, and I was so happy. I was genuinely very happy. So my boyfriend and I did something. We went to the lake because my parents used to live in a lake house, and I hadn't seen animals in like months. And I usually see turtles, I usually see fish. And this time, you know, we weren't seeing anything. So I actually prayed and I asked God, if I'm pregnant, because that digital test could have been grown. Like if I'm pregnant, just show me something like a turtle or something. Like I need to. And then a bunch of turtles came around exactly where my boyfriend and I were sitting, and I told him, and we were like, oh my goodness, you're pregnant. I know this is silly, but I'm very, like, I love the spiritual world, and I feel like we are connected to nature and to the spiritual world and all of that. So I am a firm believer that if you ask for signals, you are going to receive them. Simon, please behave. Anyways, we decided to go get a blood test done because we needed to confirm before saying anything, of course, before getting like even more excited. We got the blood test. That was on, when was that? I think that was a Friday, because I know I got the results on Saturday. I got the results on that Saturday, and the results came back obviously positive. I was 4 weeks pregnant, so can you imagine my shock? I was like, oh my goodness, this is like a month already. That is crazy. I have always dreamt about a baby. For some reason, I've always been very fond of babies, very fond of forming or building a family eventually. That was, and still is, a dream of mine. And I've always been very motherish like with my friends. So everyone that knows me well, that is my close friend, knows that I have this inside of me. Like I just can't, it's like an essence. It's just who I am. I'm very mother-like. So I was genuinely excited. What happens when you're, okay, I think he's gonna stay there for a while because he's just being a little bit noisy. Of course, at the realization of me actually being pregnant, I got scared too, because my parents are Latin, and I just genuinely thought they were gonna kick me out of my house. And I was like, oh my goodness, like what am I gonna do? I just started college, I don't have a career, I don't make money, you don't make money either, you're just starting, you know, school too. So it's like, this is a mess. Like, how are we gonna deal with this? But since we were happy and we really wanted this baby, we were also excited for how our lives were going to turn. And we said, okay, well, I have family in Spain. So I told him, if they kick us out, like if they kick me out, because at the time, remember, we were long distance and he was living with some roommates. So I'm like, well, I can either go and live with you, or, because we weren't making any money. So it's like, what are we gonna do, right? We either go live there and we just find jobs, I leave school, whatever, or we can go to Spain. I have family there, they can take us in for like a couple of weeks, and perhaps that'll help us, you know, just set up foot and try to build a life, get a job, pay rent, and just wait for the baby to arrive, I guess. We started planning all this stuff. We started looking for jobs. We started like moving, because we were only 4 weeks pregnant, but we were so young and so unprepared that we felt like we needed to get ready. So during the time that I was pregnant, again, I was excited. I listened to the baby's heartbeat and have a video of that. I'll just insert in here now.
Alright, let me show it to you. It's measuring measuring 7 weeks. Okay, so this is babies right there. And this is a heartbeat inside.
When I first heard the heartbeat, I couldn't with myself. I couldn't believe that there was a baby, a human growing inside of me, and the heartbeat was just music to my ears. And believe it or not, it's been 5 years and I can still listen to the heartbeat inside my head whenever I want to replay it, to like fall asleep or just remember how beautiful it was for the weeks that it lasted. It's so beautiful. You feel so calmed and fulfilled and excited and scared too, because like, how are you going to be raising a child? Like, it's crazy. But going a little back, because like I can't just jump from one story to the next without telling you how I told my parents. Again, they were traveling, they were not in the States, so I had to call them, and I told my dad, hey, so I need to talk to you and my mom. My Wilmer and I need to talk to you. Let us know whenever you are in the hotel ready so we can chat. And of course, he knew something was up. My dad knows me pretty well. He sees me and he knows if something is off, if just everything is well. I don't know. He has that power over me, I guess, and my entire family. He's just he like feels things. So he knows if something is off. So he knew something was happening. He said, are you sure? Perhaps you can tell me what's happening and then I'll tell you, Mom. And I'm like, no, I want to talk to the two of you together. So that night he called us back and we were FaceTiming. And I told my dad, I told Wilmer, my boyfriend, I told him, hey, I want to be the one talking. Like, I'm their daughter. And I also got myself pregnant. It's not that you got me pregnant and like, oops, you need to talk because it's your business, you know? No, it's our business. I'm the daughter. And I have to prove to them that even though I am super young, I'm a baby, I can deal with this. And I will deal with this. And I will give my face and I will confront this. So I told them, hey, so before I tell you what's happening, I want you to know that I don't expect anything from you. I don't expect to receive absolutely anything. I understand if you get angry. I will take responsibility over my actions. As I was saying this, my dad immediately interrupted me and said, Elizabeth, you know how I like things? You tell me the story starting from the end, and then you can talk about how it all started. Are you pregnant? When he said that, I got shocked, and I'm like, well, okay, I guess this is easier. I don't have to say the words I'm pregnant. He just asked, so like, yes, I am pregnant. And he was actually, I forgot to say that he was eating. My mom was also eating, and my dad cannot receive any sort of news when he's eating, so I was constantly asking him to stop eating. I was like, Dad, stop eating. Like, I really want to talk. I don't want you to be distracted. He's like, why? Like, are you gonna talk about something too serious that I just can't eat? And I was like, yes, I'm about to tell you, your 20-year-old daughter is pregnant and you're just eating. Like, stop eating. But he never stopped. He just continued eating. He was like getting some appetizers, so it wasn't like a full meal. At least that would have been worst. Anyways, when I told him he stopped eating, he looked at me again through the phone. Remember, we were on FaceTime, and he was like, why would I stop eating? Like, let's just celebrate. Let's just celebrate that you're pregnant. We're so happy we're gonna be grandparents. And Wilmer is a great guy. So like, I was shocked. Like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know how to react to that, because it was like, I thought you were just gonna yell at me, kick me out. I was not expecting you to be happy about this. So I was relieved, and my boyfriend was relieved that they were happy. that they didn't say much, like they didn't, you know, I was expecting a punishment, to be honest. I was already pregnant and I was 20, but I was expecting to be punished like any other Latin dad would have done, you know? So I was very relieved that my parents didn't take it that bad. But my boyfriend did say, like, well, perhaps they're doing it so we don't get more concerned. And as time passed by, my dad did confess that he was happy, but at the same time not so happy, because I wasn't even graduated. I was just starting the university, you know? So it's like, he knows what it means to have a child. He has two. So he knew what I was going to be facing had I had the baby, right? So he was like, he had emotions. Like, he was happy he was gonna be a grandparent. But he was also sad because he knew my life had changed entirely. Like, I was not going to be able to enjoy my innocent life, because now I was going to have to like take care of another human being and raise him or her. So I understand his feelings. And I honestly, right now, I'm 25, so I'm a little bit older than before. And right now I appreciate how he handled things, because I don't know how I would have handled it. But anyways, my mom was very quiet. He's usually the quiet one. My dad is the one who does the talking. And then my mom would call me the following days, super excited, buying me pregnancy clothes. And I'm like, Mom, I'm just like 4 weeks pregnant. Like, you can't just buy this sort of clothes, because I don't know. I'm not ready for that. Like, what are you doing? And then we started like calling people in Venezuela who still work with us. We asked them to unbox a few things that I used when I was a baby, because my mom wanted me to have them. So we were all in the family very excited. Of course, I had some people in my family who just hated the fact that I was pregnant, especially like older people, but my grandparents were all super excited. So it's weird, because I thought that they were all just gonna be hateful about it. I thought my parents were the ones, you know, who were going to go crazy, but I really, honestly, I couldn't be prouder of the family that I have, because in that circumstance, they tried to do the best they could. And anyways, that's that, you know? Going back to when it all happened, the miscarriage. This is the hardest part, because like, I hate reliving this. It's so painful. It's very traumatic, so please bear with me. I knew I was gonna have a miscarriage. Not exactly a miscarriage, but I had a feeling I was never going to meet my baby. And I started having these feelings at week 9. When I was 9 weeks through my pregnancy, I started having weird conversations in my head with God. I started telling him, hey, why am I feeling like I'm not gonna meet my baby? Why are you sending me that feeling? Why are you sending me that message? And I started growing angry with God, because I was like, I can't believe you're doing this to me. You allowed me to be pregnant. Like, you are allowing this to happen. Why are you going to just take my baby away from me? That's not fair. Like, this is my baby, right? I was super angry at God. I wouldn't share this with anyone, but one day I got so scared that I was gonna lose the baby, that I ran upstairs to my parents' room, and I got their stethoscope, and I started trying to like listen to the baby's heartbeat. I knew it was gonna be hard for me to listen to something, because I was already at that time 10 weeks pregnant, but I was just desperate, and I knew I just couldn't call my gynecologist and be like, hey, I have a weird feeling that I'm not gonna meet my baby. Can you see me? Because like, at that time, right now, I would 100% do it. Like, if I have a bad feeling, I would just run to the hospital right away, because I have experience now. At that time, I was still a baby. I didn't know what to do. So my decisions perhaps weren't the best decisions. But at that moment, I thought I was doing what was best. So I waited until I had my appointment. And I remember I was going to have an appointment on a Wednesday, right? No, on a Tuesday. And I called my gynecologist and I said, hey, because I actually started spotting pinkish fluids. It was like, I didn't know if it was blood or not, because it was pink. And remember, I'm only 20 years old. I don't know what to expect on a pregnancy. I have never talked about it. I have never watched videos about it. None of that, just the regular stuff with like normal adults, but I haven't indulged into the whole pregnancy stuff because I was young. Right now, ask me anything, I'll tell you. I'll give you the answer, just because I've done a lot of research. But I called him concerned. He said, "Are you having any pains?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not having any pains, but I just feel weird." He said, "Well, we have an appointment tomorrow, Tuesday." That was on a Monday. And actually, that appointment was to just reveal the sex of the baby. And deep in my heart, I didn't even have a name for him and everything. I felt like it was a boy. Like, it was a feeling I just couldn't control. The moment I got pregnant, like a few weeks afterwards, in my heart, I was like, I'm having a boy. And I named him Abel, because my grandfather's name is Abelardo in Spanish, which is a long name for Abel. And I don't know, the name just hit me. The name just, it sort of has like an energy I sort of have within me. So I don't know, I gave him a name, okay? Abel. I call him Abel. And if it was a girl, I would have loved her anyways, of course, but something deep in my heart told me that it was a boy, so I don't know. I know it's weird, but so when I got to, okay, no, never mind. No, I'm not gonna tell you that yet. So that Monday at night, I was eating. My boyfriend was already back in Tampa that night, and I actually, not that night, I feel like he left a couple of days before, right? So no, yes, same day. I don't remember. My goodness, it's been so long. I don't quite remember, but I know he was in Tampa. So I was having dinner with my parents, and they finished their dinner, and they were in a corner in the kitchen, getting some vitamins. I don't know. And all of a sudden, I had a thought that became again yet another internal conversation with God. And I told God, God, if you want him back, I accept that. This is my baby, and I love him dearly, and I'm excited, and I couldn't imagine a world without this baby that I've been dreaming about for several weeks now. I'm in love with the baby. I'm in love with being pregnant. But it's your son. It's your son before being my son. So if it is your will for you to take him back with you, I accept it. I let him go. And now keep him in my heart forever. But I'm not one to just ask you not to take him back, because again, it's yours before being mine. I have never shared this with anyone except my mom, my dad, and then my boyfriend. And I share that this year. I share this small story, this small internal conversation with God, with my family, closest family, because it's only my dad, my mom, and Wilmer, this year. So I'm now saying it, and whoever is gonna watch this video is gonna know this. So this is very sensible for me, I guess we can say it like that. It's very private, but I decided I should share this with you too, in case if you have gone through a miscarriage, or you're going through one and have had similar experiences, then you don't feel alone. But yes, I had that conversation with God, saying like, you know, I accept this. I miscarried that same night. So that same night, I went back to sleep, and at around 11 p.m. I start feeling some minor crampings. I started growing concerned because I wasn't sure if that was normal or not. And I went to my mom's room. At that time, my dad was at my cousin's, so he wasn't there. And I told my mom, Mom, I'm getting some weird crampings. I don't know what this is. Do you think it's normal? And then she said, well, there's some women who experience mild crampings, like at the beginning of the pregnancy. You're super early, so I bet that's just normal. Don't worry. If something goes wrong, or if it grows, we'll call the doctor. So that's exactly what I did. At 12 in the morning, the pains were starting to become unbearable, and I called the doctor, and I was like, hey, I think I texted him, then I called him, and I was like, hey, I'm having serious cramps. I don't know what to do. I don't think this is normal. What should I do? And then he called me and he said, look, if something happens, like if it gets super worse or something else happens, just go to the hospital and ask them to call me. Of course, again, remember, I was just a kid, so I didn't know what if something was wrong, what the hospital truly meant. Like deep in my heart, I knew something was off, but I didn't want to accept it. So I don't know, I was very confused. The cramps started to become very unbearable to the point that I was screaming, crying, yelling. I couldn't lay down in my bed. I couldn't sit down. I couldn't stay standing. I couldn't do anything because everything just was too painful. And then the pain will go away for a couple of minutes. And I would be like, oh my goodness, it went away. It cleared. Amazing. Beautiful. Maybe it was just scared. Maybe something is happening. And then 3 minutes later, it came again, very unbearable. And I had these contractions, because now I know they were contractions. I didn't know at the time. Every 3 minutes, every 4 minutes, and then it grew and grew and grew to the point where it was every minute or less, every 30 seconds, every 40 seconds. And at one time I decided to stand, because I was sitting in my bed, again trying to find comfort. I decided to stand. As I was walking towards the bathroom, my water broke. And it felt very liquidy and warm. And at that point I knew what was happening, so I locked myself up in the bathroom and I started crying, yelling like, oh, this is not happening to me, my baby, whatever. Then my mom tried to like enter the bathroom, but I asked her not to. I was having my moment. And then of course we decided to drive to the hospital, because like in the car I actually passed. I don't remember anything else until I was already in the hospital, being seated on a wheelchair, taken to the small rooms to be examined. And I tried to explain to the nurse, or I don't know who she was, maybe a PA, I don't know. I told her like, I'm pregnant, I'm 10 weeks pregnant, and I was just having weird crampings, and then I felt like a splash coming down of me, and now I don't know what I'm feeling. And she's like, do you have any pain? And I'm like, no, not now. And then she looked at me with sad eyes. She didn't say anything, but I understood what she meant. And she took me to the room. Then I had a guy come and do a ultrasound, and he said, well, I'm not looking at anything, so it looks like you're not pregnant. If you were indeed pregnant, then perhaps the baby is just coming down and we cannot see it. So go to the bathroom, sit down on the toilet, and just wait for it to come out. What? Do you really think that I'm just gonna sit in a toilet and wait for my baby to come out? Like I know it's normal for them, but for me, it's a world. So I can't just sit down on a toilet. But anyways, I took my mom with me. I hadn't called my boyfriend because I didn't want to wake him up. I didn't want to tell him what was happening. I knew this was going to destroy him. So I was like waiting to see if a miracle will happen, if this was just going to be like a crazy scare. I don't know. I was very hopeful, young, unexperienced. So of course I will have these weird thoughts of like perhaps not really losing the baby. Anyways, I went to the bathroom, I sat on the toilet, and I was like, Mom, I can't do this. I can't just wait for the baby to come out. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it this way. And then she said, okay, let's go back to the room. It's okay. You don't have to do this. So I came back to the room and I sat, and then a gynecologist that was on her tour that night came by. She said, okay, listen, baby, we need to examine you. Please, just sit down on this. I think she had like a very smooth box where I was supposed to like put my butt on, I don't know, and then like open my legs as if I was just getting a regular checkout with a gynecologist. As soon as I opened my legs, the baby came out. The fetus, I like to say baby, I don't like to say fetus. And it was bigger than I thought. And it was weird because the experience was dreadful, painful, but beautiful. It was still on its sac, so I wasn't able to like see the entire thing. I was able to see the form of the baby. So beautiful, unbelievable. I think that was the hardest thing, because when it came out, I actually felt as it was coming down, it was warm and very liquidy, very like Um, yeah, it was a weird feeling, like gelatin, like warm gelatin coming out of your body. Um, so after that, that was like at 5 in the morning. If I look away so much, it's because I'm not used to like looking at the camera for long enough, and I guess the pain is also making me look away. But yes, so that was like 4:30 in the morning, 5, and I called my boyfriend. He wouldn't answer because he was sleeping. I called his roommates until he called me back, and he was like, "What happened? Why are you calling me this early? Did something happen? Please tell me nothing's happening." And I cried, and I just told him, we lost the baby. I just lost the baby. And I started crying, and I said, it's not my fault. I don't know what I did. I don't think it was my fault. Is it my fault? So I started like doubting the whole thing and blaming myself of, you know, how everything happened. And he said, this is not your fault. Don't worry. I'm gonna be there soon. But he started like crying hysterically. He started yelling that this can't be happening. And then he just hung up because he didn't want me to like listen to him. He got on a bus, and at around 11 in the morning he was already in Miami. One of my best friends picked him up from the airport, and he brought me flowers. He hugged me, and I cried desperately, of course. It's so painful, I can't. He held me for the longest time, and we just cried together. He was trying to be strong, but he couldn't either. It was hard. And then we just grew silent. We started like just looking at each other, hugging, kissing, just trying to like calm ourselves down a bit. And then he started like doing things to like make me laugh or like, you know, entertain me. Then my entire family started like visiting, and they would like bring games, like table games, and we would like play. I'll play with my little cousins. And then I have my grandma. She's not really my grandma, she's my cousin's grandma, but I adore her like a grandma. She came, and she is the only one in my family who knows what I went through, because she had herself a few miscarriages before having my aunt. And she just hugged me, and the way she looked at me, I felt connected with her. I feel like she felt my pain, and she just held me and said that she understood my pain. A bunch of friends started saying, oh, you never know why things happen, maybe it was for the best, a lot of things that you're not ready to listen to at the moment. So it's like, shut up. But you never know what to say in those moments, so I wouldn't blame them. But that's the whole story. That's how I found out I was pregnant. That's how I lost the baby. And it's been, again, 5 years. I have been living with a lot of trauma after that. But I feel like I'll just do a different video with that, because first of all, I feel like I'm already too down. And I don't want to keep getting myself to that state where I will not be able to just leave my bed. I don't want that today, so I can't afford that today. So I'll just leave it onto here. I know there were a few other questions that I haven't answered, but I will answer it in other videos, just to give you a sneak peek of what that trauma looks like after I had the miscarriage. Every single month for the past 5 years, I have been taking pregnancy tests. I'm not sure why I do that, because I know I can't get pregnant right now. I'm taking care of myself. It's not the time for us to have a baby, and I'll explain that too, because that was also one of the questions that I got asked. But I take pregnancy tests every single month, and I've been doing that for 5 years, just hoping to get a yes, knowing I will get a no, getting disappointed over a no, and also happy because I want to prepare myself for a baby. It might be a very toxic behavior, but it's part of healing, and it's part of understanding that no, you're not pregnant every single month. Something I also forgot to mention is that after I miscarried, I bleeded for about 20 to 30 days. I didn't do the full 40 days that usually happens when you actually give birth to a full-grown baby. but I did bleed for 20 days plus. So there's that too. There's a lot of trauma that comes with that. Nightmares, behaviors. So yes, it's a lot to take in. I'm doing well now. I'm honestly genuinely happy, and I'm at peace, which is what matters to me the most. This is just something that it's part of my story, it's part of who I am, it's part of my soul, it's part of my life, and I've learned how to cope with that, right? And I've learned how to stop toxic behaviors. Perhaps I still have a few, but it's just part of that trauma and part of healing. So yes, guys, I know this is a lot and this is a long video. I'll probably make it shorter for Instagram, but I think I forgot to introduce myself properly at the beginning. My name is Elizabeth, but you already figured that out. My apologies on that. This is the first video I make in a long time, and by now I think I've probably erased all my YouTube videos and I just want to start fresh. But yes, that was my story, my miscarriage story. There's so much more. So if you're new here, please feel free to ask me anything you want. Talking about it helps me continue my healing process. Or at this point, I wouldn't say healing process. I would just say that I like to remember my baby. And I always want to remember my baby. I never want to forget it. So, and I want to make, you know, this sort of stories just be heard, because we need to be heard, and I want other women to at least see what it's like 5 years later. I promise your days are gonna get better. I promise you're gonna be a happy girl. I promise life is gonna be beautiful. I promise you're gonna laugh again, you're gonna cry again out of happiness. But yes, we have our moments of like reliving the scenarios and just feeling the pain again, but it's not always, it's not every day. So hang in there, you're gonna get through. I know you will. If I did, you will. We're good, we're together, that's what matters. And I can't wait, honestly, to just be pregnant again, and this time have the opportunity to just be with my baby and raise it with my boyfriend at the time. I hope that when that happens, I'm already married and I don't say boyfriend, I say husband. I hope. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Again, if you have any questions, go to the comments and just ask away. You can also go to my Instagram account. I talked about the healing process there too. I also talked about Hashimoto's disease, because that's what I have, and that's what is causing my hypothyroidism. So I'm discovering ways in which to reduce all the symptoms, potentially getting rid of Hashimoto soon. I'm reading a lot, so I'm just sharing everything I'm like learning. And I also talked about self-love, about growing, you know, yourself, about raising your inner child, about raising the adult you have become, because I don't think we ever stop raising ourselves. And I know the word raise, it's like weird because it's usually, you know, parents raise you, but I've used it for myself, like I'm raising myself. It's funny. So yeah, I talked about miscarriage, I talk about Hashimoto, and I talk about self-love. And if you like those things, then I encourage you to just perhaps follow me. We can chat, we can have fun talking. I love talking to people. And yes, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope my babies didn't bother you that much. Hello, you want to give me a kiss? You want to say bye? Give me a proper kiss. He doesn't want to give me kisses today. You're so mean. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching again. I hope to see you soon. I'm probably gonna post another video on the trauma next week, so stay tuned. Bye. I know you want to give me a kiss.